Hello, encouragers. I'm Rebecca Scott, wife, mother of 4, author, and owner and designer of Rebecca Scott Designs. I'm here to encourage you, to make you feel that I can do this spirit each and every day of our awesome journeys to fulfill our many important roles. I believe we are fully equipped to execute, and I will provide as much knowledge, practices, and systems as I can to help you understand just what I know you can do. Execute. We got this.
Hello, encouragers. On today's podcast, I'm going to record one I've recorded several times over the years of podcasting, and that is where we are now. I like to cover this subject matter when we've taken a break or it's the beginning of a new year. And welcome to 2020. I can't wait for this year. I think the title itself is pretty cool. 2020, like perfect vision. I love the idea of this year. So this podcast is one that's more about where we have been and less about where we are going, but a little bit about that as well. But I always like to tell you guys in full disclosure what's going on, what we've been through, and if there's anything that you can take from it practically wise, supernaturally wise, whatever it is that I can help you to avoid maybe what we did or try what we did if we succeeded at it. That's what I want to provide here. So 2019 was a game changer for my business, Rebecca Scott Designs, and also for the Encourager because of the master course being added. We are now on our 3rd class, and it's just been amazing to see how that has developed with my classmates and being able to coach them on a monthly basis and really help them reach goals and really think through their mindsets. A lot of aha moments and a lot of goals being met and a lot of encouragement when they don't even realize they're too close to their own job to realize the messages that they're telling themselves. I get to help them along with that. So 2019 was really focused on the Encourager and creating a new website and really looking at offering more of myself so that I could see the people listening to the podcast up close. And that was the master course. And it's been amazing. I can't wait to continue it. So stay tuned for all the details on that and be sure that you sign up for one of the courses because it's really, really, really good. And thank you to all the classmates who did participate, and they continue monthly with our graduate program because we were able to keep them on and start a graduate program as well. So we can stay in close contact and make sure that our mindsets and our goals are still being met and that we have our roles in order and that we do feel calmer and less chaotic and more successful and more accomplished. So for my family, Nick and I are stronger today than we've probably ever been. I mean, I feel like there was a big, long decade of raising the kids, which obviously we're still doing that. But I think the toddler and the baby years are different than the pregnancy years. There was 10 years where I was either pregnant or nursing. It's like one of those. And so you're kind of in survival mode. Well, then 2018 hit and we were less in survival mode, but really started having problems with our farm and ranch stress. Here in the Midwest, we've just had a doozy of a couple of years of weather and wet years and growth of the crops. And it was pretty dramatic for us around here in the Midwest. And it started to reflect on Nick and getting stressed out and me as well, wanting more for him, but having no control over the weather. And then we also, on top of that, split our farm. We are 5th generation farmers and a partnership split with an uncle and a dad. And if anybody's listening that is in farm families, you know how difficult and pleasurable it can be to do work with your family, but it is kind of a fine line to walk. And I know a lot of them that can do it successfully. And we were able to for about 15 years and then just decided it would be best for us to split. And it drug on and on and on. I think it took us 5 years until finality. And it was stressful, very stressful. And it started to reflect on both Nick and I. And we thought we have got to get us some help because if our marriage isn't strong, it starts reflecting on all of our roles. And I love my husband dearly, and we met at church camp, and I think you've heard that story, and I missed him. I missed my church camp Nick, and I missed us, and I know he missed me. He missed the better version of me, and so we decided to prioritize our marriage so that we could be better for our kids and better for our jobs and better for each other. So we went back into marriage counseling because I'm very forthcoming about we have been in different forms of marriage counseling all along. If the first one, you guys don't feel like it's working, please seek out another one. So I always encourage, don't just think that didn't work for us and move on and not do marriage counseling. Maybe find a counselor that more challenges you. Nick and I knew that if we were going to do marriage counseling, it would need to be a program-based one. We were both high achievers and accomplishers. So just sitting and talking about our problems it didn't appeal to us because we knew what the problems were. We kind of know a little bit about our patterns. Not that kind of counseling isn't needed in some circumstances. Believe me, it is. We just weren't bringing any addictions to it or any affairs to it. It was just a matter of getting back on the same page and values for our family. So we thought if we could follow some kind of program that made us do homework, that made us work together as a team to accomplish something, that would be the best version for us. And so that is what we got to do. We decided to work with Joshua Schwab, and his company is called Schwab Coaching. His podcast is called Famous at Home. It is excellent. He and his wife, Christy, are just really easy to listen to. And we did his program, and it is 12 weeks long, and it was worth every single penny. There was a lot of homework, but it was worth it. And we are stronger than we ever have been, and we are back to being a team. We are back to laughing, which is important to me, and back to having each other's back and not so individualistic, which happens frequently for us because we both have our own jobs. And we are just such go-getters that you forget to lean on each other. And this coaching method really helped us to do that. And he was careful to describe that he's not a counselor. So if we had things that came up during the coaching, he would say, you might want to seek some therapy about that because I'm seeing a pattern. So I appreciated that he could offer that too, but he was very clear on, I'm going to coach you through this program and how to become a team, not counsel us. So it was just an interesting take on it. And I highly encourage whatever you choose, counseling or coaching, get the help that you need and have a strong marriage. I mean, man, Satan is so involved right now in breaking up marriages, and it makes me really, really sad. And I didn't want that to be part of our story. Not that we were going down that route, but I definitely knew we were going on an individualistic route and we needed to be together. And so this was just a great method for that. And thank you for letting me be vulnerable enough to share that. The kids are doing great. Gus is now a teenager, a 13-year-old boy teenager that I love dearly. And I'm realizing what they say when they say about teenagers. I laugh because he eats supper, a big supper. Like, I call it ranch style suppers, like meat and potatoes and a side and bread. And he's like, Mom, I'm so full. Mom, I'm so full. Like, I can't eat another bite. I'm so full. And literally, dramatically lays down next to the dining room table, like, I'm so full. And then not 5 seconds later, sits straight up and goes, wait, Mom, what's for breakfast? You can't make this stuff up. Like, so our teenager is a hungry teenager, and I'm navigating how to do the snacks and stuff in our food system because he's hungry. We're also navigating what a screen looks like. He has a phone now. And so what are the rules around what Nick and I personally want for him around a phone? And then what is relationships like for him? If I do say so myself, he's a pretty cute teenager. And so he's been sought after, and we just really were not prepared for what that looked like. And so now we have some rules around dating, and they're not going to date until they're 16. And I read a book that was really good, and I do want to share it with you guys. It's called Aggressive Girls and Clueless Boys. I just bought it on Amazon. Short read, but it gives you a little bit of insight into what today's girls and boys are like. And all I got to say is it's the reversal, girls, women, moms. When guys were the ones pursuing, it is not that way anymore. And it can be concerning, but there is hope. So, I act like they're using drugs, but seriously, you guys, read the book, okay? Aggressive Girls, Clueless Boys, to find out what your boys might be facing. It's very good. And then it actually has questions in there for girls as well. I love all the tools I can get to raise these kids well. The girls, I have 3 girls. Iverson is 9, Rosalind is 7, and Pixon Jane is 4. They are still busy creating. We don't let our kids enter things until they're 9. And so Ivy has now entered 4-H. She's been doing piano. We let that one go. Not go. I mean, we let them do piano before the age of 9. And now she is in basketball, and she wants to try flag football in the fall. So that will be really fun and a little bit more running around, but it's fun to see her excel at something. And if this gives you any comfort, everybody, she was in soccer briefly when she was 6, and that's when we decided they wouldn't enter things until they were 9. She is keeping up just fine with her classmates. So if you're worried that, they'll be behind if they don't start till later, no, didn't happen. She is just as athletic as all of her teammates and loving it. And I'm so proud that we did wait and didn't do all the running, because now she's really valuing the opportunity to be in activities. Rosie is just 7, loving life and creating next to me. And Pixon is at home, and she'll probably be entering kindergarten. She's got some speech stuff, so we'll see what that looks like here in the fall. But I'm definitely snuggling longer lingering longer for her nap time, which I should probably wean her off because she's 4, but full disclosure, she's my baby and I don't want to. But it's really good. I have to share my studio space every day after school with those girls because they love to be in here creating next to me. For Rebecca Scott Designs, that's my purse and accessory business. 2018, I believe I recorded, I had more red months than black months. So that was just a really big learning curve, but I did choose a growth year. So I knew that it was going to cost me money to get on the road and to develop my website to where I needed it to be. So I knew that it was going to be tough. Well, 2019, I got to capitalize on the 2018 growth, and that was really fun to see. And I also had a good friend of mine hit the road to the East Coast this year and try some shows out there, and they were successful and are bringing the orders in from those customers as well. So that was all strategic moves that I decided to do that really has benefited me, and I did not have to do as much travel because actually I take that back. I did just as much travel this year. She just did additional traveling, and that was awesome. I think what made my 2019 the best year yet was the planning. And I know we say like, oh, there's so many things I have to do. There's so many things if I could just have an hour to plan that out, if I could just have a day to plan that out. I really did do that. I've talked about the retreat that I took. I took 3 days and I planned out, what do I want 2019 to look like? And I nailed it. I mean, I planned and planned and planned. Sometimes it was difficult, but the more I got used to prioritizing the planning and the more I saw the dollar signs and the stress that wasn't there, the less stress and less chaotic of the day-to-day, the more I loved the planning. So planning was definitely my key component for 2019 in how RSD was able to grow and how my stress level was down because of all the planning. Between the marketing promotions calendar, which I recorded a whole podcast on that just helped us make sure we were producing what was coming up, and my agenda sheet, my weekly agenda sheet, which we have also recorded a podcast on, those two things really kept the ball rolling and really kept me on plan to accomplish all of my goals. Another thing that I've learned throughout the years of business is I really want my team members to give me feedback. And I obviously want it to be constructive feedback, but I stopped looking at feedback as something that would hurt me and more as something that would aid me. And if they felt comfortable enough giving me feedback, then I could give some feedback as well. And we just, started looking at things from everybody's different perspectives. So when I'm at a show, when I'm using my website, I was like, gosh, this feature would be really nice if we had this because I can't check people out fast enough. And Angie, being in charge of the website, would go, oh, okay, that situation never comes up for me because she's not at a show. So she would either try to do it herself or we would contact our website guy to do the programming to make it easier for me. Or we were at a show where Angie was sitting next to me and going, wait a minute, why are you doing it that way? And I could say, oh, well, this is my workaround for whatever it is. And she could go, oh, okay, I got that. And I would say she loves feedback. Like she loves systems and things, so she can take it and do what she needs to with it. Also, my shipping gal, Nicole, could say, it would be great if when I'm shipping, it says automatically and click this. So basically asking my team members if your dream job, hopefully they're working it, was even better, what would it be? So that we could develop those things to make their jobs that much better and really work on what is a pain point for you guys? Well, a pain point for them was they couldn't get the production, basically the purses in time enough to photo them and get them back out. And then it stressed out our email gal because she couldn't get it until later, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, you know what? It's planning and it's my fault. I have got to plan ahead even further than I was. And so that's why I started doing about a quarter at a time instead of weekly, instead of monthly, instead of bi-weekly. I plan a quarter at a time so that it's smoother and less chaotic for everybody. It is a lot of work. I'm not going to lie about that. It is a lot of work, but it gets easier the more I plan ahead to reuse those themes. So definitely planning was where it was at, and getting positive feedback and allowing myself to give positive feedback also to my team members. I made sure that I prioritized my website this year as well because I would like to travel less as the kids do start to become more active and I want to attend more of their things. I need to figure out how to get myself off of the road so much. Some of it I will still be doing because it is part of my bread and butter for my business. It's traveling to the art shows. That's how I make some of the money. But how can I do less travel but more of the best shows I possibly can? So I'm looking at that for 2020. I'm going to have time to think about which shows are the best and which ones do I need to let go of. And where should I put the money? Well, it's definitely in the website to get people to experience an awesome website if they too are not traveling to see me at the shows. Studying the Enneagram was very influential in my day-to-day for 2019. I kind of studied a lot of Brene Brown before that, and this year I just really studied Ian Crone's version of the Enneagram. And knowing my number and then also knowing the numbers of those that worked for me, it just helps me react to them in a healthy way and understand if I am being an unhealthy version of my number. I highly encourage you to look up the Enneagram. It's a personality test. There's 9 different personalities. It's very Bible-based, and it's just fascinating. And I just learned so much about myself. I learned a lot about my family, and I learned a lot about my team and how to have compassion towards each number and what drives them. So it's just really good, meaty stuff for me to study in 2019 was the Enneagram. Okay, and the rest of this podcast is going to be on what I am learning and how I'm going to proceed for 2020. Perfect visions. So I have 2 challenges for you. Number 1, I challenge you to ask yourself for 2020, what am I going to prioritize? And if you're unsure, ask yourself, what system is most broke? You know, I talk about 4 systems in my book and in my course: your food system, your me system, your work system, and your family system. 4 systems. If you don't know what you're going to prioritize, you're a little overwhelmed, but you have all these goals. Ask yourself, though, what system is most broke? So, for example, my food system is my weakest system. So I still plan food every single morning at 7:30. I haven't changed that for about 10 years now. I plan lunch, snack, and supper. And it works-ish, but it's definitely my weakest system in that I don't budget accurately. Like, I overspend each week because I'm not having a food plan that's weekly or monthly. I'm only having a daily food plan. So I still don't go to the grocery store daily. I just work with what I literally have in the pantry that day. And so the food is getting bland. I think so. And I'm getting bored with it. And it's just because I'm not weekly planning. And I know I'm spending more than I could if I just planned better. So, full confession, that is my weakest system, is food. And I am going to do better at it for 2020. I'm going to plan monthly, or I'm thinking even a 6-week plan where I can just reuse it. But I've just got to have a better plan so that I can save more money and feel less inadequate in the food system. Number 2, what is your big goal this year? And I actually want you to make a quarterly goal, not a yearly goal, because by June and October, you're like, I still got time. And then by December, you're panicking, right? When you do a yearly goal. So I just want you to make a quarterly goal. What is that big goal you want for that quarter? Can you squeeze it into that quarter? Or what 2 steps can you squeeze it into 6 months? Don't make it a yearly goal. Make it a quarterly goal. You'll get more momentum. So ask yourself, what is your big goal this quarter? And then how can you prioritize it? Those two questions need to go right next to each other. What is your big goal for this quarter, and how can you prioritize it? Because if you've always wanted to write a book, let's say that's your goal, but you can't get to working to the book till about 11 a.m. and you only have till about 11 till 2 before you go pick up kids and all that stuff. And the reason you can't start until 11 is because you're doing housework. Like, you can't write until the whole house is clean. So if you said that to anybody else, what would they tell you that you are prioritizing? You're prioritizing housework, right? But you wanted the goal of writing the book. So prioritize writing the book. Let the dishes go, for goodness sakes. Let them go. Let the vacuuming go. Let the crumbs on the kitchen counter go. Let the beds being unmade go. I know, it's me. I'm even saying these things. What are you prioritizing? It doesn't mean it's going to be a habit. It doesn't mean you're going to have a messy house for the rest of your life. It just means right now, your priority is to write the book that you've always wanted to write. It means that you're going to start the business that you've always wanted to start. It means you're going to get brave. It means you're going to do something scared, and you're going to prioritize it. So other things have to be let go for a little bit. It doesn't mean those are going to be a habit, like letting go of everything. You're going to be in complete chaos. It doesn't mean that's going to be a habit. It just means right now you're prioritizing it. And when your family and your friends see you prioritizing it, they will cheer you on, and chances are they will also help you. They'll say, wait a minute, I can clean up the dishes after breakfast, or I can do the vacuuming while she does this. She is on a roll. Like, they'll cheer you on, but you haven't prioritized it for yourself, so they don't know to prioritize it for you also. Go do it. How are you going to prioritize it? Are you going to wake up at 4 a.m.? Are you going to wake up at 6 a.m.? Are you going to wake up at 2 a.m.? Are you going to work till 2 a.m.? How would you prioritize it if I said you have 1 quarter to do that dream? How are you going to do it? Can you imagine? Try to take a snapshot of your day, and what are you doing? Is it your goals or is it your housework? Now, to be fair, if you have littles, they are so important. The goal will look different in that stage of life. We totally get it. And nothing I have ever done came to me after I washed the dishes. None of my goals were people like, how in the world do you do all this? I say, well, I skip the breakfast dishes and I get right to work, right? Remember how I talk about that? It's not because I'm doing a bunch of housework and then just fitting in RSD for an hour and a half every day. I prioritize it. And when I wanted to write a book, I woke up at 4 a.m. for 6 weeks. Yeah, I wanted it. That was what I was going to prioritize. Then the rest came. And there was kind of a little chaotic, ugly time during writing that book where things got done less. But then my family started digging in and we met the goal. And I do mean we. It wasn't just mommy meeting the goal. The whole team stepped it up. My whole family stepped it up so that I could finish that book. And it was so worth it. I did it. Did I do it scared? Absolutely. But did I prioritize it? Yes. And I met it. So for 2020, our perfect vision year, I have 2 challenges for you. Number 1, ask yourself for 2020, what am I going to prioritize? Just what is it? And if you're unsure, ask yourself what system is most broke. And number 2, what is your big goal this quarter? And how can you prioritize it? All right, encouragers, 2 big ones. Give me some examples. Post it on our Facebook page. We would love to see you there. We have a lot of interaction in our community. And then also make sure you take a look at our new website, theencouragerpodcast.com, to see about our courses or anything else that is going on over there. I'm excited to have you guys travel with me in 2020 and see what kind of successes we can bring. And I can't wait to meet up with my classmates for the January class and see what kind of things we're going to accomplish together. Thanks, guys, for journeying with me over these last 10 seasons. Can't hardly believe it. Still on the microphone and loving it. Thanks, guys. Until next time, encouragers, we got this.
Hey, encouragers! If you're feeling overwhelmed, if you've had the scene where you're crying because there's no way you can meet all the roles in your life, I've been there. I've so been there, but I'm not there anymore. And I know how you can get out of that slump and start executing on all the things that God has equipped you to do. You can pick up my book at equippedtoexecute.com, also on my website at shoprsd.com, and it's also available on Amazon. Thank you for tuning in, encouragers. Remember to subscribe so it's automatically on your phone, and please rate and review me. We got this, encouragers.